Hello! Another year has passed and another set of music has come out. I'm still adjusting this concept in terms of how many albums I'll include and how I will present them. So this year I've shortened the list because I feel like I don't have too much to say about all of the albums I listened to this year, and there were a lot. In today's video, I will be talking about my top 10 albums from 2025, my two favorite EPs because I couldn't decide, and the greatest single. I have also added an honorable mention that I couldn't leave out of my 2025 music recap. This list goes in no particular order, but I will mention the obvious ones first because they were featured on my last vinyl, which you can check out in the playlist linked below. First off, we have Lotus by Little Sims. And as I mentioned, this has been in a My Last Vinyl video before, so check that out because I have way more to say about it on there. But I'll take the short story. I got very excited when I heard the first single because it sounded so good and it actually made me almost pre-order the vinyl. I didn't want to risk it because you never know. Like, the single can be the most cherry-picked thing ever, or, hopefully, the worst thing from the album. So I didn't want to risk it in case the rest of the album wasn't up to that level. But I could definitely have risked it because this was an amazing album, and I'm not sure if I should call it a comeback because Little Sims hadn't been gone for that long, but still, like, to come back with this much power is amazing. And I also said this in the video, but it has a long story behind it, and she really proves that she can do this stuff by herself and pick herself up. And honestly, I couldn't decide on a single song or like 3 top songs on this album, so I'll just say, like most albums, honestly, you need the full body of work to really appreciate it all. I haven't written any down right now, just so you know, but the ones that I think of immediately are Free. Blood is a good one, and Thief is like one of the best intro tracks from 2025. Next up, we have Viagra Boys by Viagra Boys. Like I said, this one has also been on my last vinyl. This was my first time hearing them, but it wasn't my first time hearing of them, because my dad listens to some more obscure music, so through him I had somehow heard of Viagra Boys. I heard them mentioned when Turning the Tables, who I watch a lot on YouTube, a father and son duo who react to music together. They mentioned Viagra Boys in a Suicide Boys video, if I remember correctly. This is very odd for my style of music, but I like it a lot because the humor in it is just amazing. That's what made me explore even more of this style of music. That's a primary reason why they have defined my 2025. They made me explore more music, and I've been playing this so much, and of course, thanks to having it on vinyl as well, that really helps me keep it going, you know? Next up, we have Saba and No ID. I don't know if it's Saba or Saba, but their collab album, is called From the Private Collection of Saba and No ID. This is honestly album for the car, primarily according to me, but also just whenever you need to relax. You still want some energy going, but you still want to cool down. It's a good cool down album. I haven't written this down, as you can tell, but it's a good album for cooling down. He released tickets for his show, which was going to be in Denmark, which is really close to me, and I almost went, but I felt a bit dumsnål, as we call it, which is just stupidly cheap. Because I decided not to go. I didn't feel like I had that money at the time because it was right before I started working when he released the tickets. So I hope that he goes on another tour in the future that can be even greater, so that I don't feel like I missed out on anything from this one. 2024's best single that I mentioned there was How to Impress God, and it's included on this one. But some other tracks that I enjoy, because I don't want to repeat myself, are Head Wrap, Woes of the World, and A Few Songs. Also, I really want this on vinyl, so I'm not sure if or when I get it, if I should make a My Last Vinyl video on it, going even more in depth on it. I probably should, because it will be my last vinyl. I really need it. After that, we have Let God Sort 'Em Out by Clips, who are Malice and Pusha T. I didn't know about Clips or Malice before, but I have listened to Pusha T. I feel like I'm missing out on the nostalgic factor of this great comeback, because everybody's talking about how cool it is that Clips are doing stuff again. I sadly can't relate to that, because this is my first time hearing them as a duo, but I'm also very happy. This entire project has such entertaining lyrics, honestly. You just listen to it in the background and you're not noticing it instantly, but as soon as you start listening more to the lyrics, it's just so entertaining. Otherwise it sounds like some classic hip-hop, old-school stuff. But the lyrics, they just bring it all. And I listen primarily to lyrics. I'm very thankful for it not just being a bunch of the cliche flexing how much money you have and everything. They are not just entertaining lyrics out of the funny perspective, they are also very deep and very thoughtful. For example, one of my favorite songs on this is The Birds Don't Sing, which is the intro track about their father and mother who have passed away. I don't remember who does which parent now. One of them rap about their father and the other raps about their mother. They do it in such a beautiful way, and just listening to the song, I felt how I got like, ooh, okay, this is a heavy one. But as soon as the music video for it came out, it was close. I really wish I could write like that, because they are able to mix both the funny and the more heavy stuff perfectly. Next up, I have combined two albums, which are 08 Jeddah and The Kybal by Kai Banks. I decided to push these together as one because the runtime allows it. If they were an hour long each, I wouldn't have done this, but it feels okay now. I found Kai Banks through first listening to Kodo, and then through his music. I don't remember if he's featured on any of it. Otherwise it was through For the Tribe projects afterward. I found him through Uncut Gems, and then 08 Jeddah came out, and then The Kybal. From 08 Jeddah, I like Jeddahs and Volvos, all about being cool even in your cheaper cars, you know? Then we have Dying to Live, and Where Do I Start? And from The Kybal, some that I have to mention are Too Deep for the Outro, which is of course a reference back to J. Cole's Too Deep for the Intro. Jackson 5, amazing music video and everything, and just the whole instrumental, perfect. And then Still Breathing, which actually features Kodo. So we're back to the start again. Next up, we have Har Berg, Har Vatten by Timbuk2. This is a Swedish project, as you can hear, but I'd like to mention this one because it has been a very big part of my 2025. I couldn't pick anything to filter it out and keep this whole video focused on English speaking music, or English rapping music, or English singing music. Timbuk2, just to let you know, is a legendary Swedish rapper. His most famous work was released 2005 with Alla vill till himlen men ingen vill dö. Everybody wants to go to heaven but nobody wants to die. This comeback proves that he can still write with interesting flows, off-putting to some, but interesting to others, and the same amazing lyrics as before. Some standouts are Affirmation Dag 637, 100 meter, and VMXXV. Timbuk2 played at Malmöfestivalen, which is where I saw him live for the first time. It's a big festival where a bunch of local artists and bands and groups and everything come together for a couple of days in the summer. It goes on all day with all types of music. There's blues, there's rap, there's pop, there's rock, there's everything, and there's a whole food market and everything going on around us. So it's a great sense of community. And then Timbuk2 making his comeback on that stage in Malmö, which is in Skåne where he is from. You can just imagine the energy going on there. So that was a cool experience that made this define my 2025. And even if you're not a Swedish speaker, I recommend listening to this because there are some interesting styles on it. that I believe can still be interesting even for somebody who doesn't understand Swedish. After that, I've got to mention Stardust by Danny Brown. After Quaranta, which was amazing, it's fun to see how good he's doing today. I heard Starburst and was skeptic at first, but that grew on me just in time for the rest of the album to come out. Book of Daniel is the intro track, and it's an amazing intro that really paints the picture of where he is today. The song called The End is very interesting because it's Ukrainian rapping, which was surprisingly catchy. And then we have Starburst, of course, which has so much energy, and it catches your focus instantly. The production on this is great, and it challenged me to explore yet another genre. I don't know what this style is called, and it's completely foreign to me, and I've only heard stuff like it through Danny Brown and JPEG Mafia's collaborations on, for example, Scaring the Hose. And this one is definitely not approved by my girlfriend. She does not enjoy this type of music, even though it's even more positive than his other stuff. Next up, we've got Light Years by Nas and DJ Premier. This has both the storytelling and the production, and honestly, I need another concert, because I saw him back in 2023? My favorite tracks that I remember the most are Junkie, Writers, and Bouquet. Especially Junkie, because it focuses on him being addicted to music, and it's a typical feeling that a lot of people can relate to. I thought in exactly those terms when I've been writing some music about my addiction to it, and I love the way he describes it himself. The song Third Childhood reminds me of Once a Man, Twice a Child on KD3. It describes a bunch of people still moving around like it was the 80s. And to me it shows that Nas is still young and fresh and will never get old. The only downside to this album to me is the album cover, but some of the alternative ones for vinyl still make it tempting to buy it. Next up we have How Is He the Villain by Patagonist. This was not my most played album of the year, but I want to highlight this for its creativity and promising future. It's a conceptual album with a lot of love for MF Doom, and it is exactly what I personally needed for 2025. It has a story that would remind you of some typical Cartoon Network series with the same sampling sounding style that MF Doom used, for example, Food. The whole project runs for 1 hour and 14 minutes, so it feels like watching a short movie, and you can truly imagine everything that's going on as he's rapping about it, and especially with all of the dialogue that happens in between. My favorite track, it's a bit too short, honestly, but it's called How Is He the Villain, and it's the final one. This was also the single for the project. That is what made me follow Patagonist on Spotify so that I could keep an eye on when the rest of the project was coming out, because I got so intrigued. There's a lot of other good tracks on this project, but it honestly needs the context to start it all off before you start adding them to your own playlist. So listen to the full project, experience the movie, and enjoy it. The final album that I will be talking about is Hyperyouth by JVB, or Joey Valence and Bray. I instantly had to adjust my list when re-listening to this album, and that happened on the 5th, so I didn't have much time to do so. It focuses on growing up and still wanting to feel young and everything, which I believe most people can relate to, but me going from being a teenager to my 20s now, I really felt the whole I don't want to grow up yet energy hit me. And also, when you stop listening to the lyrics, it's an amazing party album. The only risk is that people will get too conscious of the deeper meaning, which is kind of a party killer. But you can also spin that perspective to just enjoy the moment. My favorite tracks from this are Have to Cry, Live Right, and Disco Tomorrow. If you listen to the project, I believe you can tell that I focus a lot on the lyrics. Next up we have the 2 EPs. And like I mentioned in the intro, I picked these 2 because I really couldn't decide on one. First up we have They Left Me With a Gun by Paris, Texas. I found them through their music video, with the same title, They Left Me With a Gun. It was so odd. I want to call it amazing as well, but it was just odd. But that intrigued me enough to keep an eye out for when the rest was coming out. The album cover for this project is my current wallpaper on my computer actually, because I find it hilarious. There's just a knight standing with, I believe, 2 Uzis over another knight lying down with a sword. That pretty much sums up the music video as well. My favorite tracks are Halo and No Strings. They are totally different songs, but I love them both the same. After that, we have I'm Camera by Sofia Isella. This is a completely different style from what I usually listen to. It's much darker and she whispers a lot, like she whisper sings in a really cool way. And that inspired me to experiment with some songs that I'm working on at the moment. The way she does it is so cool. My favorite tracks on this are Crowd Caffeine, Man-Made, and Dog's Dinner. Especially Crowd Caffeine, because the chorus is something like, we want machines to be human, we want humans to be machines. That small line says so much, and at a time when AI is getting even more and more common and everybody's using it for friendships, wanting that machine to be humans, it couldn't be a better time for it. After that, I would want to mention a single that defined my 2025, and that is Rearrange My World / There's a Field That's Only Yours by Daniel Caesar. I cheated a little bit by picking a double single, but it's still a single. I prefer Rearrange My World over There's a Field, but listening to both tracks as one is a great experience. There's a lot of interesting musical parts on it, but I don't have much more to say about it than that, because there's just 2 songs to be talking about. I can't say as much as on the albums. But you should go give it a listen. I'm just sad that they weren't featured on his album that came out later, because I would want to listen to them with a greater context. Finally, I'd like to give an honorable mention to Balloonerism by Mac Miller. I didn't want to include this because I don't love the idea of posthumous albums, but since it was a started project, I feel like I can at least give it an honorable mention. I don't play this much because it gives me mixed feelings. The songs are amazing, but Mac Miller's fate is in the back of my mind whenever I listen to it. I didn't listen much to Mac Miller before his passing, but now I've explored more of his discography, and this style that you find on Balloonerism is what I prefer to hear from him. The song DJ's Chords Organ is another great track for the car, and it is really catchy. But my definite favorites would be Stoned, Funny Papers, and Tomorrow We'll Never Know. I have a love-hate relationship with that final song because it is so good at building an atmosphere. The fact that it's currently his final song makes it even more haunting. Oh, and I've got to mention the door knocking part of Stoned. It is such a small part, but if you go and listen to Stoned, you will understand exactly what I mean. It's like locked in the bathroom. Dun, dun, dun. Go listen to it. I can't explain it. It's such a good small part of the song that does so much, and it really stuck with me, so I just had to mention it. And the writing on Funny Papers is what really sets that song apart. From beginning to end, I'm stuck listening to all of the lyrics. The way he lays it all out is really impressive writing. And those were the albums, EPs, and singles, depends on how you see it, that define my 2025. There were, of course, a lot more amazing albums released in 2025, and the reason why they didn't get included on this is most likely because I didn't get to them, or that I didn't get to spend enough time with them. Sadly, some projects are only played once and then get overshadowed by another release that comes the next Friday. So with that being said, this list can and probably will change when I spend more time with other albums. I hope you enjoyed this video, and please comment down below any albums or singles or anything, any piece of music that defined your 2025. I'm interested to hear it, and it's always fun to have a conversation down below. Also, show your support by liking this video, showing to others that it's worth watching. Down in the description, you can find the playlist to My Last Vinyl, which I mentioned a couple of times in this video. And I also have a link to all of my other links, so you can check out my own music, you can judge me as much as I've been judging today. Follow me on Instagram, whichever, both my mgrain Instagram and my Just Migraine Instagram, and yeah, take care everyone. I'll see you in 2026. Also, I've got to say, I'm very honestly impressed with myself, because at the start I believe at the end of 2024 or at the start of 2025, I set a goal for myself to release one video a month without pressuring myself to walk the fuck into that same wall which I walked into before with my streaming. There will be a video coming out about that as well. I have a whole story to tell around unhealthy habits with hobbies. But I am honestly impressed with the fact that I succeeded. I posted even more than one video a month sometimes. And some of them didn't have as much substance. For example, my Last Vinyl videos, they are way easier to record, but I still enjoy them the same, and I hope that you do too, if you're interested in music. I'd just like to say that I'm really happy with succeeding in that. And I hope you've enjoyed it as well. So please stick around for 2026, because I will attempt to do it for another year. I won't promise anything, because like I said, I don't want to burn myself out on a stupid hobby or whatever you want to call it, you know, because I am working at the moment and I'm working a lot on music as well. So I can't prioritize it, but I will try my hardest. Some finishing words from me. Take care, and thank you again for watching this video and sticking around. Bye.
Jag lyckades spela in en video. Kolla vad jag kan lyckas spela in videor.